Hello everyone, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. Tomorrow is the Austrian Grand Prix, or the Stalberg, I believe, Grand Prix, I believe it's called. I hope you're all going to tune in and watch, tomorrow. I believe it's tomorrow around about 12 o'clock on the Saturday. And it's going to be live on Sky Sports here in the UK, which is where I'm from. I don't know where you guys are watching the race and qualifying on Saturday, but as well, I should give you my thoughts on who's going to be the winner of that race. I reckon it's going to be Hamilton. Again, he was on Hamilton, I think. But I reckon the young guys might just trump him, like Sebastian, like Charles Leclerc or Max Verstappen. I think Max Verstappen has a good chance of winning that Grand Prix. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, but I think it's definitely going to be Max Verstappen. He's going to be the one that wins that race because he's got quite a good skill set behind the wheel. Over these past few years, he's come quite good to be a strong competitor. So I reckon might win the race, but I've been proven wrong before. I reckon Charles Leclerc will have a good shot for a podium finish. But also, last race, Lando Norris was absolutely outstanding driver for McLaren. He drove a perfect race. I think from start to finish, he didn't put any fault wrong. But yeah, I mean, of course, F1 before the end of Abu Dhabi 145 days ago was locked down, but the first race was absolutely fantastic. I don't know what your thoughts were on the first race of the year, where we're all looking forward to the first race of the year in Australia. I never took part. We didn't think any racing was going to take part, but it did in Australia. In Austria, which is like weird because it's supposed to be the first one in Australia. But yeah, it was absolutely an interesting race, to say the least, in Australia. In Austria, sorry, my mind's going a bit blank out. In Austria. But yeah, I mean, it was a brilliant Grand Prix filled with drama and action and suspense, if you like that sort of thing in Formula One. But I hope that all F1 fans, like myself and everywhere around the world, we had some racing, which was great for us. Sebastian Vettel leading Ferrari for me is the right decision because Sebastian Vettel's not had the best of luck at Ferrari. He said in a press conference the other day that if he wants to leave Ferrari, he will and go somewhere else, but I don't know where he can go. Red Bull said that they're happy with their two drivers, and I see that being a good idea because Alex Albon and Max Verstappen are quite good, strong drivers in that lineup at Red Bull. He can't go to McLaren because McLaren are happy with Ricciardo and Lando Norris, the two the British driver and the Australian. Fernando Alonso coming back to Formula One. My thoughts on that is Fernando, mate, you should have just stayed away. You should have just gone off into the sunset somewhere and do another sporting series. Because, I mean, you are a good driver. I'm not going to deny that. But, 2006 and 2005 was your prime. And then the cars just gotten more powerful and more advanced. Even me playing on the F1 games, I know how tricky they can be to drive a Formula One car these days. But if you want to go back to Formula One to prove that you can compete with the young guys, I respect that. because I think you're still a talented driver in Formula One. But to see you come back is a good thing for us Formula One fans, because you are a talented driver no matter what people say. You are, so I'm not going to judge you if you come back with Renault and succeed or fail. But it's like when Michael Schumacher came back, I believe in 2010, after he came back with Mercedes and thinking that he's gonna win the title with Mercedes, and that didn't came to fruition. He retired at the end of 2012 because he was just too old and he couldn't keep up with the likes of Hamilton at the time. So I'm not a fully F1 expert, but I know that I've seen you race on several occasions on TV, and I think you are a good driver. But the modern technology in F1 these days is, I would say, very difficult, because I've played the F1 games and I know I'm not an F1 expert. I'm not claiming to be one, but I reckon these modern cars are pretty hard to drive on the road in an F1 game than they would in any type of situation. But yeah, I just wanted to say, wish you luck in returning to Formula One. But what do you guys think? Do you think Fernando should have stayed away, or do you think he should have just, do you think he should have just, stayed away, do another racing series like IndyCar? Because when he did the Indy 500 last year, and I watched him, and I thought to myself, if he has the right machinery behind him, he could essentially become a world champ. Could have been an IndyCar champion, but obviously it had a Honda power at the back, and it broke down near the end of the race. But I thought, he could win this. He could actually genuinely, physically win the Indy 500, which to me that would have been a brilliant piece, an icing on the way to the Triple Crown, because he's won the Monaco Grand Prix. The Triple Crown is the Monaco Grand Prix, Indy 500, and Le Mans. Nobody's ever actually done, well, a couple of drivers have done that in the past, but in the modern era, nobody's actually physically done that, because it's just the modern technology in cars these days are just too demanding to drive. I mean, I should know, I've driven quite a few cars in the past, and the Mercedes SLL Black in Mercedes World in 2012, and I know how difficult a modern car is to drive. So it is physically demanding to drive a modern day Formula One car these days, or any type of car these days, because they're so demanding physically. But yeah, I mean, it is good to have racing back. I mean, the Austrian, the Spinberg Grand Prix, I believe it's called this year. I mean, it is what it is. It's an interesting name to rename a race that you raced twice. Another news, Mugello is making its debut in Formula One, which is interesting. In 2021, is going to be racing, I think it's Ferrari's test track, and they're going to be using that for racing, which is interesting. But yeah, it's just interesting times in Formula One ahead, because Formula One, of course, had its long winter break. It had its break in finishing up in Abu Dhabi last year, and then we're all expected to get the season underway in Australia, but that never happened. So everyone's been watching stuff on YouTube, Formula One wise, playing F1 games on YouTube, which is what I've been doing, passing the time until real sport comes back. The Premier League did come back, and of course, Liverpool are the champions. So congratulations to Liverpool and all the Liverpool fans that haven't won a title in 30 years, I think, in the late 80s or something like that. But it's been a long time for them, and it's been 2013 since we United fans have won a Premier League title. So I'm not going to drag myself into that. But yeah, but of course Formula One is back in Austria. I think Lando Norris, I believe, has a penalty for ignoring yellow flags. I saw on Facebook today on this group that I joined. He said that Lando Norris is they place grid penalty because he's ignored the yellow flags apparently. So that's an interesting one, I think. But yeah, I mean, lockdown's been pretty hard on everyone, especially myself, not being able to go out as much as I used to, because I like to go out with my friends in the day. But people work at night. I'm not a working person. I can't do that. But I've been doing streaming a lot on F1 games, pretty much. I'm up to F1 2018 game at the moment, and the game itself is quite interesting. To say least from F1 2017. So I mean, it's an interesting game to play if you're a Formula One fan like myself, which I am hugely. I mean, I remember when my first race was. I was born in '93, so I remember my first race was on the BBC, on BBC One, I believe. They went back in the 1930s. 1993, I was born. So I remember my first Grand Prix watching it in a hospital because, as you can see, I've got, see that on my throat there. So anyways, I've been just explaining. I had this little webbing on my throat when I was born, so I had to have that laser removed, so that scar there on my throat, where of course my voice is a lot more huskier than other people's. So if you have met me before, you know what I'm talking about. But you see that there, my voice is very deep and husky. So I had that laser removed when I was before I was once. I've always had that on there. So if you can see that, that's where I had it done. So I would have had a normal deep voice like everybody would normally have. Like I would talk normally, sound normally like everyone else, but I don't. Not complaining about it, but that if you find my voice a bit strange on the videos that you've watched on my career modes in the past, from F1 2016 to F1 2017, and of course F1 2018. So if you have seen my face and heard my voice, that's the sole reason. I've got a deep, dark, I got a deep voice, so I got presently voice, as people would say. But yeah, I mean, F1 is back, which is what I'm very excited about, because lockdown has been pretty hard on everyone. I mean, for us F1 fans, or sport fans in general, there's been no sport to watch since the summer, so lockdown 2020 has been pretty boring for anyone. But yeah, I mean, Formula One's back. The second round is this weekend. Practice and the qualifying is on Sky Sports. It's live, and there's highlights on Channel 4 in the UK. If you are a Formula One fan, of course, I'll be watching it live this on the Saturday afternoon, on Sky Sports F1, and I'm hoping for an interesting qualifying session. And of course, I'm hoping for some, interesting, because last weekend in Austria, the Austrian Grand Prix, it was pretty interesting. All the drivers, all the teams got there. It felt really exciting to watch it all. And I think the future of the sport is pretty interesting because with all the young drivers coming through from the likes of Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, he's going to Ferrari next year, replacing Vettel. So it's an interesting, all those young drivers. That's watching these teams taking their chances on young drivers. It's interesting. It's not like football where you take the chance on a young player and they become like the greatest soccer stars on the planet, because Formula One is different because it's a team game, and plus it's a lot more risk in it. You know, a lot of drivers have sadly passed away because of all the terrible accidents in the past. But you know, yeah. But Formula One's back. Next round is round two. I just wanted to recap round one very quickly. Round one was a very good race. Valtteri Bottas won the race from start to finish. I thought he was brilliant behind the wheel of that Mercedes. Hamilton's got some work to do, I think, in the season. He realises that now that Bottas has come. Bottas is going to be a bit stronger this season than he had been in the past. I think Bottas has transformed himself into a competitor for Lewis, and I think that's a good thing. And then we've got Lando Norris. He did fabulously well in his McLaren. McLaren looked strong in the race. You know, they built themselves quite a good car over the winter before lockdown happened. And then Ferraris, their pace is gone. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna win the constructors or drivers championships this year. Podiums are more realistic for them. Williams, again, they got a bad car, but I thought the boys drove well with George Russell and Nicholas Latifi. I think he's Canadian. He did a good job in driving for that team. But the one thing I will say is to the F1 organisers and to all sport organisers as well. Watching the sport on the telly is soulless without the fans being there, and I understand that because there's a global pandemic going on. But sport without the fans not being there is completely soulless and completely pointless. I wouldn't say pointless because they want to put the show on for people, I understand that, but it is soulless without the fans. I've been to a couple of Grand Prix. I've been to 2013 Silverstone and 2016 Silverstone. So being around people that love the sport is fantastic. And getting to talk to people that love the sport is also fantastic because Formula One is a community that I see people on YouTube, and I've been doing the F1 side of YouTube. I'll say about 2 years now, gaming side of it. And of course, this is what I use to record. There, that's my. Don't even get to see it there. Hold on, let me just try and can't flip the camera, which is annoying. But I use an Xbox Twitch to stream it and then post it on YouTube afterwards. But yeah, I've been doing that for the past 2 years now, streaming and gaming on the Xbox and then posting on my channel. But yeah, I mean, I'm just doing this vlog, well, I would say a podcast. This is the first one. I wanted to do the second one they're going to do the second one this weekend. But the first one I wanted to do because, I was going to do it while I was walking somewhere. But that didn't happen. I had something else on. I think I was playing the game. But I didn't get the chance to do that, but I'm doing it now, so I got that out of the way. But this is the episode 1 of the podcast. Episode 2 will be on the next Grand Prix that's coming up in it's coming up on Saturday. So it's coming on Saturday and Sunday, so it's going to be it's an Austrian double header, and then we got Portugal. I believe it's been announced today, and then no, Portugal's not been announced. It's been Italy and Russia. Yeah, Russia is going to hosting the Russian Grand Prix, which has been since 2014, before the global pandemic. And then it's going to be in Italy and Mugello, where they host the test track, I believe, the Ferrari test track. So that's the first time in their history they'll be hosting a Grand Prix. Again, interesting to say the least. We'll see how that pans out. But I do hope you enjoyed the first podcast Formula One podcast, leave a like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and also leave a comment on the podcast to decide who's going to be champion at the end of the year. I still reckon it's Hamilton. Hamilton's got a chance, but I'm hoping that somebody can take him on. I'm liking Charles Leclerc a bit. Max Verstappen is doing quite well in that department, so I'm hoping that them two can try and challenge Hamilton for the title in 2020. But yeah, that's all I can say. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and I shall see you all over the course of the weekend for episode 2 of the podcast. For episode 2 of the podcast, where we review the second round of the championship, where it's going to be hosted in Austria again. I can't remember what they renamed it, but let me know in the comments what it's called. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you all very soon.